and collapsed. But what this moment revealed to some actually took us by surprise. Here it is once more, slowed down, as Beyoncé takes a seat with Molly Meldrum. Her dress creases.
Beyonce is faking her baby bump after the singer appeared on an Australian TV show.
Bumpgate went viral.
Now you kind of look at him like scoundrels. What won't you do for that damn career? Listen, this is a disgusting business. That's all I'm going to say. This business is so disgusting that I can't. I think that Jay-Z and Beyonce are master manipulators of the media.
Come on in. Come on in. So now it looks like we finally understand why Wendy Williams was suddenly sidelined and placed under a guardianship. And allegedly, it traces back to her calling out Beyoncé over claims that her baby bump wasn't real. Remember that moment when Beyoncé's stomach appeared to fold inward on live national television while she was supposedly pregnant with Blue Ivy? Wendy was one of the very few people who openly questioned it on her show, and for that, many believe she was pushed out of the industry. According to the rumors, Beyoncé never carried Blue Ivy herself. Instead, the child was allegedly carried by one of Jay-Z's mistresses. And here's where it gets even darker. That woman was reportedly found dead just days before Beyoncé announced she had given birth. Baby, this rabbit hole is deep, and we're about to jump straight into it. Now, as many of you know, Beyoncé and Jay-Z have been under intense scrutiny lately, especially after Jay-Z's name surfaced in the Epstein files. That revelation sent people digging for more dirt, and what they uncovered was messy, particularly when it comes to what allegedly happened to Wendy Williams. This all goes back to 2011, when Beyoncé appeared on an Australian television program for an interview. During the segment, as she attempted to sit down, her baby bump, supposedly housing Blue Ivy, visibly compressed, folded, and warped right in front of viewers. And even though this aired live, Beyoncé's team still managed to convince the public that nothing unusual happened. They even tried to shut down the rumors by releasing a photo of Beyoncé in a bikini, claiming it proved she was pregnant. But when you really look at the image, she just appears slightly bloated. And let's be real, plenty of women look like that. Does that automatically mean they're pregnant? Exactly. But one person wasn't buying the explanation: Wendy Williams. The very next day, she played the clip on her show, replaying it multiple times in slow motion so viewers could clearly see it wasn't some edited trick. It looked just as bad as people remembered. Beyoncé's team was working overtime, but Wendy was working even harder. She refused to let it slide. Wendy even compared the situation to her own pregnancy, saying that when she was expecting, she could barely sit comfortably, let alone have her stomach collapse like paper. She argued that the only way that could happen is if something was stuffed under the dress to fake a pregnancy, while someone else was actually carrying the baby. And Wendy didn't stop there. She also brought up Jay-Z's alleged mistress, Kathy White, who was rumored to be pregnant around the same time. While Wendy didn't say Kathy's name outright, everyone already knew who she was referring to. Wendy went as far as suggesting that Kathy may have been acting as a surrogate and that Beyoncé allegedly planned to take the baby and present it to the world as her own.
Beyonce's pregnancy is a way of keeping Jay-Z's alleged mistress away. Beyonce is going to use a surrogate so she can maintain her body, but they're going to play it off like it's allegedly, like they gave birth.
And Wendy wasn't lying about Beyoncé only allowing 3 people in the room during the birth she supposedly had, because that part actually checks out. The only thing she got wrong was the location. It wasn't a home birth like Wendy had predicted. Instead, reports claim that over $3 million was paid to a hospital so Beyoncé could have an entire floor to herself while giving birth. So the question is, what could Beyoncé possibly have been hiding that required spending $3 million to take over a whole hospital floor? Especially when you consider that other women gave birth that same day and were moved to different areas of the hospital. Even more suspicious, their newborns were still kept on the very floor Beyoncé had allegedly paid millions to control. One woman's husband later spoke out about the situation, and he was furious. He said the hospital should have handled things better, pointing out that there were infants in intensive care with serious health issues. "You don't just take over a hospital like you own it," he said. "I know they paid $3 million, and I'm just a contractor from Bed-Stuy, but the way we were treated was unacceptable. My wife is devastated. She had a C-section, delivered twins, and was in pain. Nobody deserves that. Anyway, back to that infamous moment. The footage literally crumples. And what it revealed shocked more people than expected. Here it is again in slow motion, as Beyoncé sits down with Molly Meldrum. Her dress visibly folds. Now circling back to Kathy White, she was found dead shortly after Beyoncé allegedly gave birth. According to the autopsy report, which many people believe was tampered with by Jay-Z, her cause of death was ruled a brain aneurysm. But a lot of people don't buy that explanation at all. Many have examined the timeline themselves and say the timing of Kathy's death lining up with Blue Ivy's reported birth date is far too convenient. And then in 2024, Beyoncé released her song Daughter, which some believe is a thinly veiled confession, allegedly hinting at Kathy's death and the claim that Blue Ivy was taken from her afterward.
Allegedly, the song Daughter on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album.
I love that one.
It's potentially a murder confession about Jay-Z's mistress, Kathy White.
So what people are essentially claiming is that Kathy acted as a surrogate for Beyoncé and Jay-Z, and after giving birth to Blue, Beyoncé allegedly removed her from the picture and raised the child as her own. This theory makes sense to many because it also fuels the argument about why Blue resembles Beyoncé so strongly, even though she was supposedly carried by Kathy. Others point to a particularly dark and unsettling poem from Beyoncé's song Anger, where she describes the extreme lengths she'd go to in order to keep her man. The lyrics include disturbing imagery that many interpret as being directed toward her husband's former lover. If it's what you truly want, I can wear her skin over mine, her hair over mine, her hands as gloves, her teeth as confetti, her scalp as a cap, her sternum my jeweled cane. We could pose for a photograph, all three of us, frozen in time, you and your perfect girl. And just when things couldn't get any darker, Jaguar Wright entered the conversation, and she didn't hold back at all.
Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my quantify me. You can't even control your wife. You gonna handle a bitch like me. You can't even control that goofy bitch. You should have done a better job. Maybe she wouldn't have had to lose her mind on Kathy. Cause you ain't protecting you. You're protecting her. Wonder why?
Unfortunately for Wendy, she didn't walk away unscathed either, because she was the one who cracked the door open and let all of this spill out. And for that, many believe she paid a heavy price. People have recently pointed out that not long after Wendy publicly called out Beyoncé, her health suddenly began to decline. She started collapsing on live television, cycling in and out of rehab, and before long, Wells Fargo placed her under a guardianship she reportedly never needed. As time went on, her condition seemed to worsen, and her questionable guardian allegedly kept her isolated from her own family for years. But recently, everything took a turn. It was revealed that Wendy may not have been sick at all. TMZ reported that she underwent extensive neurological testing by a highly respected neurologist in New York, who reportedly determined that Wendy did not suffer from the condition that had justified her guardianship for so long. Now, as more details come to light, people are scrambling to connect the dots. One person commented, "I truly believe something was done to Wendy. I wouldn't be shocked if Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé were somehow involved. I pray for her." Another added, "Isn't it strange how Wendy suddenly became so ill after exposing powerful celebrities and high-profile figures? So now I want to hear from you. What's your take on Wendy's sudden decline after calling out Beyoncé? And do you believe Beyoncé and Jay-Z had anything to do with it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.